combating nutrition disinformation and general bull. It's Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another Instagram Live. And we're here with another episode of Jimmy Rants. If you're brand new to Jimmy Rants, head on over to JimmyRants.com and you'll see how it works. We start off over on Instagram. We do a live video a couple of times a day, so go follow me on Instagram at Livin' Low Carb Man. That's LIVINLOWCARBMAN. And once you're there, you can engage in the content live when I go on a couple times a day. If you miss the live, you can watch the replay for up to 24 hours. On Instagram, so go check that out on Instagram. But if you don't like Instagram, not everybody likes Instagram, it's all good. We do throw the past videos up on YouTube for you to enjoy there. All of the past episodes are up and running, well over 100 episodes on all kinds of topics in the world of nutritional health, sometimes encouragement, and sometimes just Jimmy wanting to rant. So that's what I do. And then finally, we have the best of the best moments of this here show in podcast format. It's the Jimmy Rants podcast over on Apple Podcasts, JimmyRants.com. Today's Jimmy Rants is all about this big trend that is happening in the world of nutrition right now. I don't know if you've heard about it or not, and I've done a previous Jimmy Rants all about it before, but there is this movement for people to eat a mostly meat-based carnivorous diet. So the carnivore diet is all the rage right now. People are very interested in it. And what's so fascinating to me about the carnivore diet is it's not new. Everybody thinks it's just popped up on the scene suddenly. When I first started blogging in 2005, I had just gotten done with the Atkins diet, lost 180 pounds off my medications and started blogging. I had these people writing to me and said, well, if you thought low carb was good, you should try a zero carb diet. And I remember going out to eat with a couple of zero carbers, and I'd watch them, and we'd go to a steakhouse. They would buy a big old steak, and the waitress would be like, well, what sides do you want? I don't need sides. You don't want any sides? So what sides do you want? I just want the steak. And they would sit there and eat a 12-ounce steak. And so this is not new. This has been out there for a really, really long time. So zero carb is a new concept for a lot of people because they think low carb is hard. Oh my gosh, zero carb. But I decided in January of 2019, which is when we're recording this, that I wanted to try a carnivore diet. Now, those of you that follow my other work very closely, you know I did an experiment in 2018 where I did an all-meat diet, but it was by design a 3-to-1 protein-to-fat ratio because I wanted to see what a higher protein, all-meat, basically no-carb diet would do to my body. And what I found was it was no bueno. A very high-protein carnivorous diet is not what I would call the carnivore diet. And that's what I want to talk about here today. Keto carnivore is high fat, not high protein. So when I did that, for those of you that didn't see my experiment a year ago, I do a podcast on Fridays called the Keto Hacking MD podcast, ketohackingmd.com. And on there, we test a variety of kind of biohacks within the keto template. So we wanted to see what this high protein would do to us. Well, for me, we only tested it for 7 days. For me, I had 15 bouts of hypoglycemia. So I'd eat chicken breast and turkey bacon, basically the leanest of the lean, 90% ground beef, the leanest of the lean meats that we could possibly find, where I was having upwards of, 270 grams of protein and only 90 grams of fat. So 3-to-1 ratio of protein to fat. And it was intense, you guys. So, especially with all the hypoglycemia. So everybody was like, oh, the carnivore diet failed you. I'm like, no. That's not the carnivore diet. And when I started this high-fat carnivore a few days ago as of the recording of this. When I started it, people like, I thought that failed you. No, the high protein failed me. So far, so good on doing a higher fat carnivore, because what's happened is it's fallen into this range of between 70 to 80% fat that I tend to thrive in. When I go below 70% fat in the diet, I have issues. When I've gone over 80% fat in the diet, which I actually tested that last year as well, did a very high fat diet, was aiming for about 90% fat. I'd end up around 87, 88 most days. And I did horrible on that as well. So I found that the sweet spot for me is falling between 70 to 80% fat, and keto carnivore, that is by design high fat, has helped me do that. I haven't had any issues with hypoglycemia. I haven't had any blood sugar dysregulation that I'm aware of. I feel great. I got lots of energy, even though I've had no carbohydrates now. I'm in my 3rd day of doing this. And of course, being keto for so long, I understand the way the metabolism works, and that I should have no hunger because of the lack of the carbs. I am having a little more protein than I would typically have, but I'm still having upwards of mid-70s when it comes to percentage of calories consumed from fat. So if you want to try a carnivore diet and you're thinking, oh, let me go get some chicken breasts and let me go get the leanest of the lean, turkey bacon and that kind of thing, and you think that's going to be carnivore, it might be meat-based, but if you want to do the carnivore diet, you got to do it with the fatty part of the meats, because that's where your energy comes from. That's where the benefits come from for your brain health. That's all of the things that are helping me right now, and I'm really excited to be sharing about the results I'm getting of this on social media. So if you're not following me, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not following me on any of my social media pages, go follow Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all those formats, and I'm posting right now all of the things that I'm eating on this meat-based, high-fat carnivore diet. And then we'll be sharing the results on Keto Hacking MD, where I ran a bunch of blood tests, and I'll do it again after just to see what happens. And guys, I'm feeling really good doing this right now. And obviously, if at the end of the 4-week testing period, I'm still feeling well and getting great results, I ain't gonna stop it. So if you want to give keto carnivore a try, make sure you're choosing the fattiest of the fat cuts. Try to find that range that's right for you for fat. And fat calories are obviously higher than protein calories, so it's not like you're just putting gobs of fat on top of meat. It just means that it naturally comes in, say, a ribeye steak, for example. That is a very naturally high in fat cut of meat. Yes, it's got a good chunk of protein. I want to say yesterday's meals came in at about 23% protein. That's a little bit higher than I've been getting with my protein, but I'm not having any carbohydrates, and I'm having mostly fat, which I think came in at 77% fat. So just make it work for you, and make sure it's high fat if you're doing keto carnivore. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Welcome in, welcome in. Thanks for being here, you guys. Appreciate you being a part of the Jimmy Rants family. L. Landrew says, so many people confuse keto with Atkins. Well, yeah, they do. And there's a very simple answer to that. Keto is low carb, moderate protein, high fat, mostly real whole foods. Atkins is very low carb, and then as much protein and fat, which they put in one category, as you want to eat to satiety. That's it. So, can an Atkins diet be keto? Yes. But can an Atkins diet not be keto? And the answer to that is also yes. You can overdo it on the protein on Atkins. Is GI upset normal in the first week on keto carnivore? Like, yikes, Scooby-Doo. Well, I'm not a full week in on my experiment, so I can't really speak firsthand about that. I can tell you my poops have been normal so far. And so I don't know. Dr. Sean Baker would be the one to ask about that. I believe here on Instagram, he's Sean Baker 1967 if you want to go look him up. Hello, Jesse. Good morning, low carbers, keto knots, and carnivores. I love the greeting. That's awesome. Bonnie Lene says, hello, my keto family. And what up, Jimmy, says Jeremiah. Welcome, welcome, you guys. So any thoughts, you guys, on high keto carnivore being high fat, not high protein? Keto Neogenesis Beth says, I remember your high protein experiment. Were you testing insulin as well as glucose or just glucose? So obviously there's no at-home insulin test, but I did test insulin before and after, and even in the midst of eating a high protein meal. I sat in the parking lot in my car like this, was eating a bunch of chicken breasts, and then about an hour and a half after eating that, I went into the LabCorp, had them draw the insulin. My insulin spiked with just protein. So this is another reason, you guys. People think protein is good, and it is. Don't misunderstand me. Amino acids are essential for a reason. But there is such thing as too much protein, which is why if you're going to do keto carnivore, you have to make the preponderance of the calories come from fat. And I haven't tested my insulin in the midst of this yet, but I did do it before we started, and I'm going to do it after the end of the 4 weeks. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to insulin doing a high fat within that 70 to 80% range that I'm shooting for diet. And I did do glucose. I haven't tested glucose or ketones yet because I kind of know what they are on keto anyway. So I've been eating keto. So once I'm in this for about 4 or 5 days, then I'll start testing blood ketones and blood glucose just to kind of see where that's going. But I can assume that blood glucose will come down and blood ketones will go up eating the way that I'm eating. Jesse says, carnivore drops my blood pressure too low, but it's probably effective for those with high blood pressure. So if you're on medication, not that you are, Jesse, but if you're on medication for blood pressure, yeah, you may need to come off of it. I don't know what carnivore specifically is doing to drop your blood pressure too low, but I believe you that it's doing that. But that's nothing but a good thing that it lowers blood pressure. Downtown Vapors, I always eat too much protein and not enough fat. Well, make that your goal in 2019 to flip the script. Start eating more fat and moderating down your protein. You might see better results in your health. Ashton says, been doing carnivore for about a month and a half now, really doing good, and I'm liking it. I like the simplicity of it. I mean, I literally about 2 hours ago had 6 sausages. That's it. 6 sausage patties. It was very easy to cook. Cooked it up in a skillet. Got done cooking in about 7 to 8 minutes. Ate them. Was so delicious. So incredibly good. And I don't think I'll have to eat again till maybe like later this afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever. And it's not this kind of, oh, I've got to eat constantly. It's really beautiful when you do it with a high fat template. Bonnie says, how long again will you be on it? A month. I think it's good to switch your body up every now and then. So Bonnie, I'm doing 4 weeks. So 28 days. I started on Wednesday of this week. So 3 days ago. Sorry, somebody tried to call. I'm doing Wednesday this week. Started Wednesday on this week, and I'm going all the way to the last Wednesday in the month of January because I'm going on a trip out west where I'm speaking at a conference at the end of the month. So that's why I purposely did it for that 28 days so I could get the blood test run at the end. Obviously, if I'm still doing well at the end of 28 days, I'm not going to stop doing it. So that's what happened when I tried nutritional ketosis for the first time. Was it was only supposed to be for a month, and then I made it 3 months, and then it was going so well I decided to go a full year. So who knows? Maybe we'll do this the entire year. I don't know yet. Let's see how it goes. Headed to work. I will miss this. Catch you on YouTube. Thank you, Bishop. Appreciate you being here. Joette Lutrick says, I'm keto carnivore for 4 months now. Been able to get off of 21 out of 26 medications as a result of it. 2 years keto as of yesterday. Joette, you're a rock star. You're a hero in my book. 26 meds, and you're off of 21 of them now. Just incredible. Hello, Lindy, Keto Teacher Mom. Loving Keto Carnivore so far. It's helping me readjust, take a break from all the stevia, nut butters, and chocolate. Yeah, for people that started this in January, a lot of people had more kind of keto treat type things in the holiday season. Guilty. And so it is a nice kind of reset for sure. Joshua Winslow, carnivore diet is a barbecue man's dream. Fat keeps the meat from drying out. FYI, real barbecue needs no sauce. I agree, Joshua. If it's slow cooked for like hours upon hours upon hours and all that delicious fattiness gets to ooze in there and it's smoked really well in a smoker, you don't need no sauce on it if it's well done that way. Tracy says, I love living the carnivore lifestyle. I'm loving it so far too. I'm early in on it, but early reports, I can say this is quite enjoyable. Joette says, Keto Carnivore has my lupus and RA, rheumatoid arthritis, in remission. That's just, I'm in awe. That's awesome. Keto Chrissy Sue, the Atkins products are not all keto-friendly ingredients. No, and by the way, the Atkins diet and the Atkins diet company, Atkins Nutritionals, they are not the same. So if you're following more of an Atkins style low carb diet and you think the Atkins bars and shakes follow that no. Stay away, stay far away. Tracy says, 0 inflammation, I sleep like a baby. Good job. Yeah, last night was an interesting one for me because it was the end of day 2 of doing this. And I think what's happening is my insulin is dropping and I'm probably dumping some glycogen stores that might have built back a little bit during the holidays. And so I had to get up to go to the bathroom 9 times. 9 times because of this carnivore diet. So it's a good thing because I know what it is, but some people freak out. Oh my gosh, I can't stop peeing. I can't sleep because of this carnivore thing. And it could just be your body making that transition that it needs to by lowering insulin and dumping glycogen stores. Jesse says, I heard from one of your buddies that chicken can adversely affect some severe insulin resistance. Thoughts? Yeah, chicken is very insulinogenic. Chicken breast is extremely insulinogenic. So if we know that it's insulinogenic and it makes your blood sugar, your insulin levels go higher, why do we think that's a health food? And yet how many people go and buy chicken breast? Oh, I'm doing myself good. Look at all that healthy protein. I'm cutting out the fat. And they're not realizing they're actually stoking the very thing that they might be cutting carbohydrates out for. Maybe they're even trying to limit carbs as a means for lowering blood sugar and insulin. And then they're eating chicken breast and they think that that's a good thing. Is it better than carbs? Yes. But is it still spiking your insulin? And the answer to that is yes, again. So yeah, I'm not a fan of chicken breast. Avoid as much as possible if you're trying to be keto. Low carb keto for life. Good luck. Just ended my first 3-day bone broth fast. Yeah, the interesting thing yesterday, when I woke up yesterday morning on day 2, I was still not hungry. I had eaten my last carnivore meal on day 1 at 2:30. My first meal yesterday wasn't until 11:30 a.m. So pretty long 21-hour fasting period. My blood glucose numbers have been so steady postprandial and post-workout in the 80s, waking up to 68 to 75, says Lindy. So Lindy's doing carnivore right now too. It's amazing, isn't it? How stable it is. And how simple is it? Just eat meat. You know, when we say fasting, it's pretty easy to communicate fasting to people. Just don't eat. With carnivore, just eat meat. That's the phrase. Downtown Vapor says, I think I need a glucose monitor. Yeah, you're flying blind if you're not using a blood glucose monitor to kind of track where you are. Tracy says, after you are adapted to carnivore, or after I got adapted to carnivore, my blood sugars are 85. Excellent. Beautiful binge eater. I've been strict keto for a long time. Now I'm on day 4 of carnivore, having major carb cravings. I'm guessing I may need to monitor my fat to protein ratios better. Eat more fat. It will make the difference because you might be stoking some of the very hunger cravings that you were getting from carbohydrates. You might be stoking it with the kind of protein like the chicken breast we just talked about, or the amount of protein, and finding that sweet spot of how much fat to have in your carnivore meal is so critical. Yeah, for me, I know as an insulin resistant man, I have to fall between 70 to 80% in the fat range. Not below that, not above that, right in that range. And so the unfortunate part is a lot of the meats that you buy in the store these days, they're going to tend to be the leaner cuts. So pork chops, they've cut off all the fat on it. Even a lot of steaks, they've cut down on the fat on it. People eat chicken breast still, and so there's no fat on that. So that kind of thing, you definitely need to up your game when it comes to the fat. Sarah Jane Hill 09 says, yes, simplicity. It's pretty simple. Just eat meat. Joette says, carnivore is my way of doing lazy keto. So I did a previous Jimmy Rants about dirty, lazy keto, and that's should not be a thing. But you're right. It does make it very easy, especially if you're mindful that you're getting the fattier cuts of the meats. Ashton, are you strictly meat or are you eating eggs and cheese? So if you watch my Instagram channel, Ashton, you'll see I've been posting my meals of what I've been eating, how much fat and how much protein and calories I've consumed. And yesterday's meal, the first day I was just meat. I believe I had hamburgers, patties, and then sausage patties on day 1. Day 2, I have backyard chicken. So how do I not incorporate eggs into this carnivore diet? So I had eggs cooked in butter with some cream cheese in it. And then my meal last night was beef hamburgers with some cheddar cheese on top. So I am incorporating other animal foods besides just meat. Low carb keto for life, currently on keto, but dealing with swelling in my feet and legs, lymphedema, my blood pressure is doing great. Can keto cause swelling? So you're going to need to email me that question through Instagram, or so send me a message through Instagram, because we stay on topic on these Jimmy Rants. Keto carnivore is high fat, not high protein. So that's off topic, but I'm more than happy to help you. So send me a message. livinlowcarbman@charter.net is my email address. Brent Tatum 74, this is exciting. Thank you. I'm excited about it and real anxious to see what happens as we continue on keto carnivore. Grandma does keto, doing the month of carnivore to help me focus on getting the protein in for a change. I tend to rely heavily on fat. This will help focus and still stay moderate protein. See, this is another thing too. So there is this movement of people that say you need to have more protein into your diet if you want to be keto, kind of the keto gains people and the higher protein. And so I wonder if keto carnivore is the happy medium between the keto gains style of adding in more protein and then the people that tend to moderate down protein to a lower level. I know some people that go as low as like 12%, 10-12% on their protein consumption. I wonder if keto carnivore lets you get in that happy medium between those two groups. I know my friend Dr. Ted Naiman wants people to get 30% of their calories coming from protein. Well, I've been falling right around low to mid 20s in the protein on this carnivore so far. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens being at that little bit higher range of protein when it comes to fat loss and comes to changes in markers. Maybe there's a happy medium between all of us that talk keto that is the sweet spot. Sorry, there was a big truck that came behind me and I was like, what in the world? 18 months on blood pressure meds cut in half, says Downtown Vapors. That's awesome. To that person on 26 meds, maybe think about a different doctor. That's crazy. Yeah, L. Andrew is a medical doctor, and she's right. It's called polyprescriptionism, whatever it's called, polypharmacy. And yeah, unfortunately, most mainstream medical doctors, polypharmacy is more the norm than the exception. Alicia says she loves the simplicity of carnivore too. Yeah, so easy. Just eat meat. Hashtag just eat meat. Or as I like my friend Dr. Ken Berry likes to say, hashtag eat your meat. Amy 1026, I haven't looked into carnivore yet. Would that eliminate plant oils? Yeah. Yeah. Anything that comes from a plant is no bueno on this carnivore. So I'm not having any coconut oil. I'm not having any avocado oil or avocados. Even like condiments, like mayonnaise that would have avocado oil in it. Nope, not here. But that's okay. That's what it's all about, is just finding this plan and seeing how it works for you. Slow cooked with fat and dry rub, says Keto Chrissy Sue about the barbecue from earlier. AZGEO111, carnivore, where the fats fall off your bones. Chrissy says, hoping for the best for you, Jimmy. If you do well, I may try carnivore too. Well, regardless of whether or not it does well for me is irrelevant to what it does for you. So don't stick around and wait to see what happens to me. I think if you're curious about it and you think it's something you want to do and you might find enjoyment in doing, then you need to do it for yourself. I will start today, keto carnivorous, says Alberto. Alberto, I'd love to hear what you have to do. And a lot of people are doing it in January 2019, which is when I'm recording this, because January is World Carnivore Month. And so a lot of people are doing this in, I guess, honor of that. I'm not doing it for that purpose, although if it happens to fall in the same month, so be it. L. Andrew, God bless you and more power to you, Jimmy. I was so bored eating carnivore. I missed my low-carb vegetables immensely. I hope you get great results. And see, that's a great point, Dr. Landry. Thank you for mentioning that. I think if people love their vegetables and they're getting great results on it, then don't do carnivore. Do your ketogenic diet that has your yummy low-carb vegetables in it. But I think this could be an effective hack for people that might be stuck, maybe want to change things up a little bit, and they might find, and this is what I'm hoping, they might find that this is actually what they've been looking for. And so I'm going to continue doing this, like I said, for 4 weeks in a row, and we'll see what happens. Bonnie says, in school they taught us too much protein turns to fat. Is that true? Is that why all the meat you are doing works well? So too much protein turns to fat. No, too much protein turns to glucose. So when your body gets the obligate amount of protein that it needs for all the glucose-dependent functions, or excuse me, amino acid-dependent functions in the body, all those amino acids are distributed and you have extra protein left. Protein can't be stored in the body, but it doesn't get converted into fat. It gets converted into glucose through the liver through a process called gluconeogenesis. Okay, so then once gluconeogenesis happens, that glucose gets distributed into the bloodstream and then treated like sugar. And so that's why we tell people moderate down on the protein when you're eating a well-formulated ketogenic diet. Oh, Brent, I love your comment here. Keto carnivore feels like you're fasting with food. It's so funny you say that, Brent, because when I woke up this morning, I had the feeling like I was on a fast. It was the weirdest sensation that I've had eating. I felt like what I feel like on a fast, which, by the way, I feel good on fast, so it's not like I was starving like you think you would be on fasting. But I felt like I was on day 3 of a fast. It was kind of the buzz that you get from the fasting. For those of you that have fasted a while, you know what I'm talking about. You kind of get that buzz on day 3, 4, and that's what it felt like, where I was like, whoa, and I'm actually eating. So you get a lot of those same benefits. So it is really interesting. I'm going to continue to observe that as I continue down this. But thank you for making that comment, because I have the same feeling. Livin' Lizen Healthy says, I did not know that about chicken. Yeah, be careful with chicken. Chicken ain't a health food. Jeremiah says, I'm reading your book, Keto Clarity, right now. Pretty awesome. Loving it so far. Looking finally to begin my keto journey. Well, do it, Jeremiah. Alberto says, sometimes I'm afraid of plants. They are the greatest alchemist of all time. It's creepy how they defend themselves. This is something that people that think that you need vegetables, they forget. Those plants, they do. They release all these chemicals to defend themselves that can be very toxic. Look into the oxalate content of some of these foods that they think are healthy. Look into lectins, for example. Dr. Stephen Gundry talks about that quite a bit in his work. There are some really, really nasty things that can be in plant matter, which would make you compelled to want to try a keto carnivore diet. Alicia, are you anticipating any weight loss this month? Great question. Honestly, I am not weighing myself. And if you've been following my work, you know that all of these experiments that I've done, I'm not weighing myself. Can I be honest and just tell you I'm over the weight thing? I'm so over obsessing about making sure that I lose X amount of pounds, doing this X factor. And then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what's the point? At this point in my life, I'm much more interested in the health benefits. I'm much more interested in, can I reduce that insulin level, that fasting insulin level into the single digits? Has not been there in a little while. It's been 14, 15, 13, all around it, but not under 10. That's my goal. I want to get that down. Now, obviously, if I can shed pounds and body fat in the midsection of my body, which is where most of my fat is on my body, that's a bonus. But I'm not really paying attention to it beyond just observing if it happens. Beth says, I seem to recall Dr. Berry talking about having a CV if you had too much protein and that might balance it out. Thoughts? Having a CV. I don't know what a CV is. Sorry, Beth, I don't know what that means. Maybe I can catch up to you towards the end here. Tyler, I'm currently on day 4 of a 21-day fast. I want to break my fast and ease into carnivore for 30 days. Any suggestions? I wouldn't go right from a fast to carnivore. I wouldn't do that. I would let your body readjust to eating foods for a few days and then start on a carnivore diet and make sure it's high fat. Jesse has a great question about the chicken breast. Can you just add butter and have the skin to counter the insulin effects? No, because the insulinogenic effects is in the proteins themselves. It's not about blunting blood sugar or blunting the insulin response. Those are insulinogenic in and of themselves beyond like any carb effect that would have on insulin and blood sugar. It is very insulinogenic. So you can add butter and you can eat the skin, but most chicken breasts don't come with the skin. Most of them come in a package, frozen from Tyson or any of the other big food companies, Purdue, and they are just chicken breasts. So you're not eating the skin. If you want to eat chicken, try to do the leg or the wings, that kind of thing. The thigh is the other one. It's all dark meat. Thank you for always living what you share with us. Thank you, Kimberly. Always. That's my jam. I'm hoping I get to 20 to 25% protein. Grandma does keto. It's pretty easy when you do keto carnivore to fall in that range. I'm falling right in the range of about 20 to 25% protein myself and 70 to 80% in the fat. So pretty easy. Can fish fit in with carnivore? Jesse wants to know. I got this question from an ovo-lacto pescatarian. So yes, yeah, you could eat fish. I have found personally that fish does not fill me up as much as red meat. And fish does not fill me up as much as eggs. So if it fulfills you and gives you that great satiety, great. But most fish that I've consumed, I just don't get full satiation from that. So I probably won't eat a lot of fish. Maybe what I'll do is add in salmon a couple times a week just to get omega-3 fats in from that. But if you're doing it for the fat and protein to be carnivore, just for that purpose alone, it's not something you would want to eat every single day. It does tend to be a lot leaner than, say, red meat would be. So that's the other reason why you want to make sure you're getting plenty of fat. Yeah, even the fattiest of the fat fish, like a salmon, for example, is still a preponderance of it, is still a huge bolus of protein. Again, not a bad thing for you, and if it's something to switch up what you're eating in your meat, that's fine. But I think there are better choices if you're going to be keto carnivore. Hello, Dory. Thanks for being here. Terry says, sometimes it may be good to surprise your body with a new way of eating. I agree with that. I think that the whole homeostasis kicks in, and if you're eating basically the same way, and you're fasting the same amount of time, and you're eating exact same times every single day, I think your body gets used to it. So yeah, I agree with you. Change it up. See how you do. I went off keto for a few weeks on vacation, and so far I'm not fat adapted. Can I jump into carnivore, says Chrissy. Why not? What would be the downside? I would say it would probably boost your ketone levels to go keto carnivore. Again, go high fat. If you're just joining us, guys, in this Jimmy Rants, everybody's talking about carnivore, and if you're going to do a keto carnivore, you got to make the preponderance of what you eat high fat, not high protein. Diet King says veggies. Ick, Adam. He is definitely pro meat. Diet King says peeing a lot. Yeah. Peed 9 times last night. Yeah. Your face has gone down in inflammation. It's still ugly. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Christine would kill me if she heard me saying that about myself. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm hoping that is an effect of this. I already have pretty low inflammation as it is, so I'm not worried about the inflammation. But if it does that, what I'm hoping is some of the breakouts. I tend to get breakouts around the T section here, and that's a sign of higher insulin levels. So hopefully this will help clear that up. So far, it has cleared it up a lot more. My fiance's mom wants to start keto. I sent her the keto cure that I won from you. Awesome, Dory. Beck Keto Me says, I missed what you said about chicken, not a health food. I believe it, though. No, it's not a health food because it can be chicken breast is what I was referring to. It can be very insulinogenic, so be careful. Let's see here. I'm listening and watching as I'm driving, but appears your face is looking slimmer. Thank you, Beth. I can't imagine just 3 days I've lost weight in my face, but okay, if you see it, that's awesome. I'm going to have to watch on YouTube to see what's up with the chicken. No, Terry, chicken is just insulinogenic. Just be aware of that. Again, the chicken breast is where a lot of the amino acids that are insulinogenic are. How do you cook red meat? Raw, medium, or well done? Well, Alberto, I love a good medium steak. Unless it's prime rib, and prime rib I do medium rare. Yeah. Shellfish can be insulinogenic too, as I understand. So, Jess, I actually, in my book, The Keto Cure, we have a top 10 list in there of the most insulinogenic proteins that people might be eating on their ketogenic diet. And I think shellfish is definitely on that list. What about a dairy-free keto? If you want to try dairy-free keto, that's fine. I did go dairy-free for a period of time. I didn't see any difference with and without it. It was no difference at all. So I continue to eat dairy, but I know a lot of people get benefit from cutting dairy out. Where should I go to get details of how to do this kind of carnivore? Well, I'm posting a lot about it right now, Chrissy, on my Instagram page and all my social media, so you can definitely go follow. But here's the thing. Eat meat that is fatty. Don't eat plant matter. Don't eat carbohydrate. Drink plenty of water. Done. Simple enough? And really anything animal-based. So eggs are included in that. Try not to add too many exogenous sources of fat, like loading up butter and other animal-based fats with the meals. When I consulted with Dr. Sean Baker about this, who is the king when it comes to the carnivore diet, definitely go follow him, Sean Baker 1967. He does a lot of info on this, but he said be careful not to add too much of that because it's easy to overdo it and get in more energy than you need. I read that cooking too much, the proteins will harden the cell walls, trapping the nutrients inside. Alberto, I don't know about that, but I don't cook it beyond medium anyway. Excited to see changes for you. I've noticed Dr. Berry's changes already. Bullock in 2018. Yeah, Dr. Ken Berry has been carnivore for a little while now, and he's all about people giving it a go. He definitely was one of the people that inspired me to want to give this a go. The Keto Road says, I just got done writing a whole blog post all about gluconeogenesis. It was really good. Well, are we humble there, little man? So, just kidding. Keto Angela, do you eat pork? I love me a good pork belly. Yeah, pork belly's great. It's extremely high in fat. So if you do have pork belly, that's 90% fat. So you want to offset it by having maybe like a sirloin steak, which would have a little more protein, still have fat in it, but you're trying to get into that balance. Remember, for the day, between about 70 to 80% fat is, at least what I've found for me, is the sweet spot. Can you have coffee and tea on carnivore? Yeah, don't use sweeteners. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't. I don't drink either one, so I have no personal experience. I'll go check out your page. Thank you. Like my dad says, I'm the humblest man I know. It cracks me up. Yes. Keto Chow, what's up? Welcome in the house. Yum steak. Joette says, I get ground steak trimmings that are 73% fat, 27% protein. So tasty, much better than HB meat and cheaper. Yes. And that's a good ratio. Maybe a little higher in fat than that, but that's not bad. Is it raining? We need some in LA. Yes, it's raining in South Carolina. All right, guys, so that is it for this Jimmy Rants. And the bottom line is, if you're trying to do a keto carnivore diet and you've got people telling you it's supposed to be high in protein, no, it's not. It's high in fat. I'm currently in the midst of doing this. I'm on day 3 of trying a keto carnivore diet where I'm doing between 70 to 80% of my fat or of my calories coming from fat, and the rest coming from protein, which will fall in about the 20 to 25%-ish range. So follow me along. I'm doing this for 28 days as an experiment, but again, if I'm doing well at the end of the 28 days, I ain't stopping. So if you're doing this and you're doing well with it, I'd love to hear from you. Definitely drop me a message and let's talk about it. I want to see your success as well. All right, guys, that's it for Jimmy Rants. JimmyRants.com is the website. And as always, hop on over to JimmyRants.com and you'll see how the show works. We start off on Instagram, and I engage with all my Instagram people here live, all these awesome people down here that engaged in conversation with me today. And so go follow me there at Livin' Low Carb Man, LIVINLOWCARBMAN. If you miss the live, you can still watch the replay for 24 hours on Instagram. Then it disappears from Instagram, but go on over to YouTube. You can find the past episodes. Just type in Jimmy Rants as a keyword search, and you'll find the past episodes. And then finally, we have the best of the best moments of this here show on the Jimmy Rants podcast on Apple Podcasts. Go leave us a review if you like the show. JimmyRants.com has links to all of this that you could ever want to know about Jimmy Rants. So guys, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you again real soon.